What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the week ahead. We're going to prepare ourselves, taking a look here at the foreign exchange markets. Before we do, let's look at the calendar over here. We have a big week here ahead of us on the calendar, starting off with CPI out of Australia on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have the Bank of Canada rate statement and press conference, followed by then later the Bank of Japan. We also have out of the US dollar, advanced GDP. We have on Thursday, ECB monetary policy statement and press conference. It's a big week on the calendar ahead, but more importantly, it's only 10 days to the US elections. Big risk event ahead. You saw last week in the FX markets, they were kind of subdued. It's almost as if the markets are entering a holding pattern, waiting to see what happens here. However, sometimes the market does make its move ahead of time. We're going to follow what's going on right now. We're going to see what's set up and what's not so that we have an edge going into next week. We're going to start that off here with the US dollar index. This is the DXY now. Just a side note, heavily weighted towards the euro. Right after that, the Japanese yen, British pound, heavily weighted towards the euro, about 60% of the index. All right, keep that in mind as we then look at the euro and other US dollar pairs. The thing that I want to highlight for you here right now and for myself is that in this area over here, we have just been consolidating, right? And not only that, we remain sideways going on since early August right now. What does that mean? Oh, it means a couple of things. It means two things. It means the dollar's getting ready for a big move, right? Whether it breaks out to the upside. And by the way, look over here. This is touching the high, the March high over there. This trend line was added by Justin and Stefan. They went ahead and they suggested we had that a couple of weeks ago, and it was a good look. We added it to the charts. It's a break of that trend line to the upside that could set off a really big move here on the dollar. However, if we do break below outside of this little trend line, that's light support, and this one over here is also a big level. If we break below these two levels, then, it's just a stone throws away to yearly lows, and at that point, we could be putting a major leg down. We'll be targeting first 90.83, and then below that, 88.40. So those things are all possible outcomes, but right now, we are sideways. We are consolidating. I don't really see much of an edge. I like to take trades that I could push multiple support or resistance levels, not that are stuck in a tight range. And right now the dollar is that, it's just ranging. So as we look at the euro US dollar right now, do keep that in mind, because here you could see clearly, look at this, by the way, look at this resistance over here. I'm not calling out the levels because I made them really big for you over here on the right. So you should be able to see the levels I'm talking about over here. And then through the support down over here, we are ranging, same thing since early August in that area. Now, we tried to break down over there. That was something that we tried to take advantage of as well. By the way, if you noticed, I do my weekend analysis on the daily time frame. I trade only off the 8-hour, but by going ahead and getting this fresh perspective over the weekend, it kind of helps me reset. It kind of helps me see things from a different vantage point and really useful. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a really good feel for the overall FX market, doing it on the daily, and then you all know that I only take trades and enter on the 8-hour. But I just wanted to make note of that for you in case anyone was confused. So what else is going on over here? So we had this channel. We broke down into the support, have come up, and we're holding this resistance so far, right? So kind of no man's land all day long, right? And that's very similar to what we just looked at on the DXY, where the DXY is stuck in that channel as well. Not much going on over here until we do break out, whether it's to the upside over here, to the downside, or something new develops. I think that I'm avoiding the euro US dollar personally. Now, someone else may see something differently. This is what I see. Let's check out the US dollar Japanese yen. And so what I'm interested in over here is a couple of things. I was tracking this triangle over here, right? I was tracking this triangle, this descending triangle, and we broke down, but broke down with authority. Since we broke down into the support area, we have since been bouncing, right? So if we are able to resume back down below this area of support, that's a place where picking up a short looks like a good trade for me. right? Because you do have this little, you had wicks below here and wicks below there, but there's not much. There's not much. You could see a sharp move if the dollar were to go ahead. And again, just bringing it back to the DXY as I come over here right now. Let me bring you back to the DXY just for 1 second over there. And you could see I talked about if we take out the yearly low over here, we could make a big leg down. You could see that also possibly playing out here on the US dollar, Japanese yen. So that's something to watch, but I don't really see something for me to look to attack right now or anything like that. I'm going to just check it down on the 8 hour really quick just to see. Yeah, I mean, I do see that we came into the support. We've retraced, and you could see where the mouse is. You could see this little bit of local resistance, right? That was a little bit of local support up on the way. No, excuse me, I have that backwards. That's a local support right there. That was local resistance. And then you could see this light level here. You see us resuming down off of there. But I think at this point, I want to wait for it to prove itself. So that would either mean breaking below this support over here or coming back up to test this stronger resistance. I would like, if we tested that stronger resistance, a rejection would be very nice. And just planning ahead, not developing now, if we're able to come back up and break out above this trend line, that would send a strong buy signal. And just so you have the same awareness I have, that would also be us breaking above here on the DXY. That would also be a strong buy signal. All right, let's check out the Australian dollar, US dollar, and then we'll take a look at the pound US dollar. So keep in mind, I want to get off the 8 hour, although it's tempting for me. That's where I make my living. You can see here on Australian dollar, US dollar that we're trading below this resistance over here. Not only that, follow this line over here, support. You see when it broke, it was then near-term resistance. Then it became support again. Over there was a touch into it. So you're into a bit of resistance right over there. A rejection here, is that something that you would look to short? We do have, just keep that awareness over there on the calendar on Tuesday. You do have CPI readings. That's a high impact news event for the Australian dollar. Just be aware, you could see if we have risk on, risk off, right, going into the election, Australian dollar. If we see some risk off going into the election, you might see this play out here on the Australian US dollar. But for me personally, we'll look at that in just a moment. I think I would prefer playing the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Japanese yen is a safe haven currency if we go to risk off because of the election, and it takes the US dollar out of the equation. Why do I want to take the US dollar out of the equation? Well, the whole risk event, right? What's the risk event? The election is if there's no winner. If the election is contested, markets do not like uncertainty whatsoever. The US dollar, which is normally a safe haven bid in a risk event like that, well, I don't know what's going to happen with the dollar, but the Japanese yen, I know that not only is the Japanese yen a safe haven bid, it's actually a better than the US dollar anyway. So I would just avoid this. Listen, I'm just talking you through what I talk myself through as I look at these pairs here right now. So let's look at that right now before we look at the pound US dollar. Let's look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. By the way, before I do that, are there any other notes I'd want to make? Like, when does this become bullish? Because there's no question about it. Since the March low, that's in a massive uptrend. Right? Right now, we're into resistance, right? We started weakening. We're into resistance. Normally, that might be a place I look to sell, but not today because of what? The US dollar. US dollar sideways. We're coming into a risk event that involves the United States. I prefer to always play the high probability trade to play it safe. When does this become bullish? Well, right now, I'm just going to stand aside. I'm not even going to try to figure that out. Obviously, way above here, that would become massively bullish, and I would definitely be looking to buy off support at that point. But right now, I prefer to stay on the sidelines. Australian dollar, US dollar. We had this little, and you can see it better on the 8 hour. When I say it, you could see that little bit of ascending wedge, right? You could see that better. Everyone who's following the live streams was aware of this trade, which triggered on Monday during, or Tuesday, I'm not sure, during the New York live stream over here, during the New York session over there. And since then, you could see that, look at that little bit of resistance. Price has tested it once, twice, consolidating. When price consolidates like this, it could be setting up for a next leg. It could be, we're expecting or looking for a leg down, right? Nevertheless, if you've took this short over here and you're still holding it, you should not have your stop loss right above there. You should have taken profit and moved your stop loss to lock in profit right there. Because if we do take out that little bit of local, I should get off the 8 hour. If we take out that little bit of local resistance right over there, at that point, we could see the next leg up. So, and by the way, those pushing this trade and holding this trade as price consolidates here between these two clear levels, right? Between 74.90 and 74.30, a breakdown over there, that could possibly lead to a bigger move over there. That could wind up being a fantastic trade. So always look to push your winners. But again, I don't really see a new opportunity here right now. However, if we break down over here, and it could be a quick move into there, but I wouldn't play the breakdown. I would look for a retest and a resumption. And if that entry played out, that's an entry I would look to take. Would I be looking to take in this consolidation that's happening right now? Would I be looking to take any type of sell off the resistance right over? No, I wouldn't. It's too tight of a consolidation range for me. This was the entry. If you didn't get it, I would wait and just be on the sidelines waiting to see what happens next. Let's take out the pound US dollar. Pound continues to be what? Pound continues to be trading massively off of what's going on here with the negotiations between the EU and the UK. So that being said, like, this is trading technically pretty nicely. Why do I say that? Look above me. Look at the resistance that we were just rejected off of right over there that we had. And then we've come in back down and testing this area of support right now. Interesting indeed. Is this something that you might look to take along over here if this support holds now, right? If this support holds on the Asian Open and then we start making higher highs during London, I think that's the best looking trade that I've seen so far as we go through our analysis. That's something to watch. Now, I do want to note, I'm off. First of all, I want to note I was off the daily. I want to come back on the daily as I do this overview with you, right? The thing that I want to note is that, what do I want to note? Well, you have two big risky pairs here. You have the British pound and you have the US dollar, which is kind of, sideways right now, coming into a risk event. Nevertheless, technically it's here, and I really like when I'm not looking to enter something and then it's so clear that I have to take it. Now, I'm not saying that this is the one, but this is definitely now high on the list. All right, let's keep going over there. Let's see what else we want to look at. We want to check in over here on, I know we have a lot of traders focusing on the US dollar, Swiss franc. Oh my goodness, right? That looks like it's breaking down over here, getting ready to take out yearly lows. Let me pull back to a higher time frame. I want to see what's below me over here. Yep. We got support coming in at 0.888. Let me go ahead and throw that in over there. That might come into play pretty soon over here. So let me get that into the market. There we go. Have it a little bit higher. That's fine. And what else? So, yeah, it looks like it's getting ready to challenge the yearly lows over there. That could be dangerous. I don't want to focus much more on this right now. If it broke down, we could easily then I'm going to go ahead and move this support down over here just to give me an area of support that where could I put this? I guess I'm going to have to put it at the yearly low off of these two touches. I do remember this is when we had people focusing on shorting this, when we were all the way up here into that resistance. I'm not going to focus in on a trade here unless we take out the yearly low. Then that would open up a new trade. That's not happening just yet. We'll see what happens on the live stream on Monday morning. US dollar, Canadian dollar. I'm going to avoid this. And the reason I'm going to avoid this, much like the DXY, this is a US dollar pair. And much like the DXY, it's ranging and it's sideways. So it's not attractive right now. Let's take a look at some more crosses. Let's look for more opportunity. Let's look at, possibly see something developing on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I do see some opportunity perhaps for Monday during London on the pound US dollar. Let's check out first the euro, British pound over here, which is actually interesting. Let me talk you through this. I'm going to do it on the 8 hour. Let me talk you through what happened over there. You could see this clear bull flag, right? And not only that, we broke out of that bull flag to the upside right into the resistance, which is textbook. That's what's supposed to happen. But then we never got a entry because, again, never play the breakout. It's a very low probability trade. Do not take the breakout. Wait for the breakout, look for the retest, take the resumption. You can see you never resumed here. And instead you fell back into that bull flag or that downward sloping channel. Came into that area of support, follow my mouse, that's clear as day. Follow my mouse, look at that line, that's clear as day. That should be over there, by the way, and let me draw that in as a little bit of an aid, a little bit of a help. But right now, we have what? We've, again, broken out of that little bit of trend line over here. Another opportunity, right? So watching for a retest, and if this holds a resumption, that's a beautiful opportunity. I'll take it, even what's going on right now with both the UK and the EU, as well as, maybe we come up a little bit higher. Maybe we test this resistance again. And then if we are able to flip this resistance into support, that would be another opportunity to enter that. So that's definitely green lighted over here as well, the euro, British pound. Let me check out also what's going on over here. Let me briefly look at the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. All right. And I'm going to avoid that right now. I don't really see anything else. That's the short we looked at last week, right? So what else is going on? Australian dollar, Japanese yen we looked at. Let's look at a few things. Let's look at Japanese yen pairs. Look at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen over here. And I see since we've broken down, right? First we were holding this trend line. That was a possible buy opportunity a couple of weeks ago. We came down into that channel, held that support, came right back in. What happens when support breaks? Resistance, breaks, support, broke back, resistance. This, by the way, I'm looking at it now. I missed this. I know I was traveling last week. This is a trade that I shouldn't have missed. I'm looking at this one and I'm seeing that I was off my game. Nevertheless, all right, here we go. What's happening now is, again, from that little bit of a lesson right there, that was support. Support, it broke, is now resistance. And we're into that resistance, and we're into this area right here also of horizontal resistance. If we're able to be rejected over here, that's also offering nice opportunity here for a new short on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. So I see as we continue going through these pairs here, there is multiple opportunities opening up over there. Everyone's aware of the euro, Japanese yen. And right now I see it coming back into an area of resistance here, right? This was the pattern that set it off for us. This was an ascending triangle, ascending wedge, broke down, retest, boom. Here's another test into a little bit of resistance. If it's rejected, look, I could just say right now, I don't like this trade. It's not something I would take. We've looked at a few, 3 or 4 different pairs now that are offering some nice opportunity. This is not one of them for me. I don't like that. So I'm just going to keep moving along right now. That's the whole thing, is by the more pairs you look at, the more opportunity that presents itself, the more opportunity you have to profit here. What's going on? Same thing like the euro, Japanese yen. This is kind of sideways for me. I'm going to avoid that. Let's look at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. And this is interesting because I'm going to go back to its partner, the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, right? And I said that like right now we're consolidating between these areas. If we broke down, like forget the short that a lot of people got into. Forget that we're consolidating now after making that drop, looking for another leg down and for that to be a beautiful trade. However, right? We're consolidating. I see a bit of a difference on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. What do I see over here? I see this trend line that goes back. When does this go back to? Goes back 5 years to January of 2015. Let me go to the daily time frame with you. I like playing trend line breaks. Now they always don't work out. Look over here. Look, she's tried to break out multiple times and has had issues. However, if we get the break again next week, I'm probably going to be looking to go ahead and take a shot at this, right? So if we get a breakout, right, here's the first area of resistance, other resistance, look for that retest. And if that does flip, that might be an opportunity. Now, it doesn't look right now like the best opportunity of all of the pairs that we've looked at, but it is opportunity. I might wait until we get above 70 0.72. Now, Jordan, why would you say you might wait until, if you think we're going above 70.72, why not take the trade now? Well, because we could be rejected right here at this resistance, and you might want to be looking at a rejection here, right? And if you take out that, by the way, if you have over here Asia, right? Let me zoom in. If this is your Asian candle over here, and then you make a lower low over here during London, taking out that area of support, that might be a beautiful short. That's something that I would take on the short side, or consider taking if it was, again, let's see how we open up on Asia. Let's see, towards the end of Asia, what's looking like the best opportunity. But this is right up on the list. But to the short side, if we're rejected down, otherwise, it's got to prove itself. We're into that resistance. It's got to prove itself. I would like to see it get above this area before I became pretty bullish on it. What else do we want to look at here today with each other? A lot of people have been focused on the Mexican peso. I'll pull it up really quick for you. Again, we're just testing this area over here. If we break this, that could lead to a big move down on the US dollar Mexican peso. There's no way I would be looking to buy that. No, this is a downtrend. That's very clear. We look to sell resistance in downtrends. Okay, so if you do get a breakdown over here, that might open up a new swing trade for people. Okay, but aside from that, it's been sell resistance, right? And this is where I went very bearish on that with a different personal investment. That's not here nor there right now. What about the Euro Australian dollar? That's in play on Friday with a nice long entry. Let's check it out over here on the daily time frame. And the reason we have that blue box down over here, because that was a massive consolidation range over here. You could see that, right? And then we broke out of it. Let's go down to the 8 hours, see what's going on. Yeah, right at entry right now. There was an entry right over there. We have since come back into it. This could lead to, as long as you hold this area over there, this could lead to some more entries coming up on Monday. I would watch this pair as well. Right? I would watch this pair as well. That is also looking like it could, after consolidating for quite a while, lead to a nice move upwards. That's a look at the markets here going into next week. I will most likely be uploading, as well as tomorrow, just a quick overview of the indexes, also looking at gold, silver, and Bitcoin, possibly even Ethereum, Chainlink, and some others. So everyone, I hope this was helpful in giving you some type of head start, some type of, look ahead for next week. I enjoy doing it with you. If you're still here and you haven't already, please go ahead and smash that like button. Do appreciate it, and I'll see you all Monday.